Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. Our guest today, I'm proud to say, is one of the best young baseball coaches in the state of Louisiana, college baseball coaches. He's the head baseball coach at the ULM Monroe Warhawks, and his name is Michael Federico. Michael, thanks for joining us all the way from Monroe, Louisiana.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Lee. Looking forward to it.
Your background is heavily Mississippi with Southern Miss. You played at Southern Miss, had a great career at Southern Miss. You were a catcher. I like that. Toughest position on the field. And you had a great career, at Meridian, Mississippi Junior College. I'm really familiar with them. Did a great job there. You were at Memphis as an assistant. Southern Miss, pitching coach for 7 years. And since 2018, the head coach at ULM Monroe. And Coach, I got to tell you this before we get started on talking about you, bragging about you and your program and your kids. I followed you from afar this year, and your team beats Alabama. I mean, you play LSU really strong, even though it was a shutout. I mean, it was a great game. Beat the Raging Cajuns this year, not slouchy. Play in TCU later in the year. We'll talk about that. Your schedule's really tough. Y'all don't back down from anybody in conference. Already it's tough in conference, but, beat Louisiana Tech, beat Oklahoma State. Coach, great job, man. Those are some great programs that your team's defeated this season.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been a challenge, with all the COVID stuff. Schedule's definitely changed a lot. Some of those games weren't necessarily planned originally with, the Southland and Conference USA not playing midweek games. We kind of had to change our mindset, and some of it's been a lot of road games. But it's been great. I grew up in South Louisiana, in Slidell, Louisiana, and kind of my career has kind of taken me more to the east side, to Mississippi, and it's great to be back into Louisiana and really enjoying my fourth year now at Louisiana Monroe.
I've got to ask you this. You said Slidell, Louisiana. What high school? Is it Northlake Christian, Salmon, Slidell, or North Shore?
I actually went to Pope John Paul.
Oh, that's the one Catholic I didn't mention.
Right. Yep, that's right.
People don't realize how many high schools you have in Slidell. There's a few.
There are. When I was growing up, there weren't many, and it's kind of blew up a little bit. North Shore was relatively a new school, and Pope John Paul was a new school. And I enjoyed my time growing up there. Moved to Louisiana in 1977 with my parents, and I was 3 years old. And really, Louisiana's, I call it home, because that's where I grew up. Even though I was born in the Northeast, but all I really know is Louisiana, and I consider myself, somebody from South Louisiana, kind of a homegrown coon-ass, so to speak.
Well, the show goes from here to Shreveport, Bossier City. You can get it in Monroe, West Monroe, Natchitoches, all over the state of Louisiana. We go to the St. Tammany and New Orleans, Lafayette. Coach, what do you think of this year's team? It's been a battle. It's a grind. Y'all got these tough conference games in the Sun Belt, and then you have these opponents like Alabama, and, you play, all these big teams outside the conference like Oklahoma State. It's a tough grind from game to game, right, Coach?
It has. It's been a unique year. I think just everything from with all the battles with COVID and, the uncertainties of college baseball with, are we going to play or not, and getting the season taken away last year. And, the battles of injuries. I think there's been a lot of injuries around college baseball because kids missed last year and they missed the fall. We had a couple players that missed over 28 days of practice because of contact tracing and things. So it's been a unique year, and kids taking online classes and all that stuff. It's been a battle. We're right at 500, and we've had some really, really quality wins, and we've had some disappointing losses. And that's been the frustrating part, is we haven't really put that consistent year together. And I'm not pointing fingers, but there's just been a lot of just crazy scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, our guest is the head baseball coach at ULM, the Warhawks in Monroe, Louisiana. And they butcher my name all the time. People do. Brecheen. They say Brecheen, Brecheen. I want to make sure I have your name pronounced right. Michael Federico. Is that correct, Coach?
That's it. Correct.
We've got Coach Michael Federico, the head baseball coach at ULM in Monroe, Louisiana. We'll be right back with more. Coach, we'll talk about his players, talk about what's coming up on the schedule, and just all kind of stuff. We'll be right back. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. Our guest is the head baseball coach at ULM of Monroe, Michael Federico. Coach, your team is very interesting, collected players of all over the country, and you've got a lot of local guys, a lot of guys from Catholic High Baton Rouge, a bunch of guys from Catholic. You've got a few from West Monroe. Caldwell High School, I remember Jacob Barton playing football, quarterback. He was in our magazine over the years, a great athlete, now a pitcher for you. But tell everybody how your recruiting approach is. I know we can't talk about recruits, but like when you're assembling a team, obviously junior college is your background. Now the transfer portal. How does that look for the future of baseball as a baseball coach for you now that this portal's like it is now for baseball too?
Yeah, well, we've got, I think, kids from 13 different states, and got 4 Canadians on our team. When I first got here 4 years ago, didn't have a lot of Louisiana kids, and it was one of those things where that we weren't really in the picture with some of the Louisiana kids, and by year 4 now, we finally have got some Louisiana kids, and I'm excited about that. But we've had to kind of go out and get kids from other states, and population wise. When you really look at Louisiana, there's not that many kids, and where we can go to Texas, and I mean, there's a lot more population. So in Texas isn't far for us. So we've been able to get into Texas, been able to get into Mississippi, and been able to. It's a great attraction to bring kids from the Midwest, or like the 4 Canadians that we have, to bring them down to when you can say, hey, we're going to play the likes of Lafayette and Louisiana Tech and LSU along the lines of Alabama and Oklahoma State. Kids get excited about that. And when you talk about Louisiana baseball to a kid from far off, they know the history of our state and the quality programs that we have. And it's just been great, and it's been awesome to do that. But we finally are getting some Louisiana kids, and we need to build from within first. The transfer portal, I'm not really excited about it, to be honest with you, Lee.
Yeah.
I think it's, especially for our sport, when you're dealing with percentage-based kids, there's not that many scholarships that are really out there.
Right.
And I think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt our game a little bit. But so we're going to have to navigate those things and figure out what the best thing is. And kids are going to leave us. That's the scary part too. When you recruit a kid and you give them that love and attention, and all of a sudden, does he want to leave, our place? And there's a lot of intangibles that I think we just don't know about just yet.
I want to mention some of your kids from Louisiana. Nicholas Judy, 6'8" pitcher from Catholic of Baton Rouge. Matthew Lee from Catholic of Baton Rouge, a catcher. Jacob Wax, who's sitting out right now. I know that you're excited to get him back from Catholic of Baton Rouge. Carson Jones from West Monroe, an infielder for you. Ryan Cupid from West Monroe. Adam Tubbs from Monroe, Mangum's Justin Barton. There's some Brother Martins, Cole Stromboe, Cole Crescent from Mandeville High School, not far from where you're from. But a lot of good-looking players coming up on your team from around the state. And like you said, the Canadians and some Texas kids. Coach, your background, being a catcher, as a head coach, do you lean more a philosophy as a hitting coach or a pitching coach as a head coach? Which one of those you lean more toward as a head coach?
I'm a defensive-minded person. I actually work with our pitchers. I'm the pitching coach here. I've got a great assistant coach in Matt Collins and Jake Carlson that they basically run the offense. They're kind of the offensive coordinators, and I do most of the defense and pitching. That's my passion. I think that's where consistency can come, and I think it's important for the head coach to have his hands on one side of it, and to me, the defensive side of it's the most important. But I still, I help with the offense, and I kind of spice it up a little bit with it. But Coach Collins basically runs that side of it.
Coach, we have our guest today, the head baseball coach at ULM of Monroe, Michael Federico. Michael, Coach, is there anybody on the team, and I think a lot of fans like hearing this, that have pro potential, anybody potentially that could get drafted when the season's over? And would it be, anybody in particular on the team that maybe even be a younger kid coming up that's got a lot of pro ability? Anybody that sticks out to you right now?
Absolutely. I think we've got probably 3 guys this year that have a legitimate chance. Our center fielder, Mason Holt, is a junior, putting together a good year. Our senior left fielder, Ryan Hummenyuk, and we've got a left-handed pitcher named Justin King that's a transfer from Alabama that's been really good on the mound, been in the mid-90s, and I think they have a chance to lead. The thing with the draft this year is it's going down to 20 rounds. It's going to be a lot more limited. Professional baseball is kind of cut back, and it's going to be unique to see, how the draft unfolds. It's not going to be the same filling out rosters, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for kids to get drafted. As far as some of our young guys, I do think we have some guys in our program future-wise, guys like Nicholas Judice and Cole Crescent that extremely talented, young arms that have a chance in the future. And I've got a couple other guys as well, but time will tell with them. They've just got to get experience. But it'll definitely be exciting with the draft that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, how the major league teams are going to go about it.
I'm all about the schools. I guess I'm a fan, at the end of the day, about keeping these kids in school as long as you can. And obviously opportunity for them with money. But like you said, last year there was only 4 rounds?
5
5 rounds? And,
5, yep.
And that helped a lot of college coaches get some of these kids that you wouldn't necessarily get, like Dylan Cruz, as you know, at LSU.
That's right.
And some other guys at Florida Gators, Vandy needed anybody else to come back. I'm all about the school. I'm all about a kid going to college at least 2 or 3 years. And I'm glad to see it's only going to be 20. And like you said, the money's not there for these pro teams. So those 10 rounds, 11th round, 12th round, those slots are not going to be offering $500,000 anymore.
That's right. It's definitely taking a hit on the professional side of it, and it's going to make college baseball a lot better for sure.
Coach, take a break and bring you back. I wanted to ask you about the Sun Belt, your thoughts on the out-of-state teams that you play and some of the strengths that you see going out of state to play some of the teams in your conference. What's your thoughts about the conference this year, how strong the Sun Belt is this year? We'll be back with more of the head baseball coach from the University ULM of Monroe, Michael Federico. We'll be right back. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Welcome back. We're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest today is the head baseball coach of ULM of Monroe. I keep wanting to say Northeast coach from way back. I'm an old school guy.
That's right.
Michael Federico, man, you're doing a great job. Your son, I want to mention this before we get into the Sun Belt, but your son, I want to brag a little bit. It's me doing it for you, not you doing it, but your son has been gathering a lot of interest with the coaches at Western Monroe for football as a quarterback. And I called the other day and I talked to a couple of their coaches and I said, look, who's a young quarterback coming up for the future? And they said this young guy named Federico. And I said, wait a minute. Does his dad coach baseball at ULM? They said, yeah, that's his son. I said, oh, okay. They said he's one of the best athletes on the football team. He's super fast, has a lot of young talent, and they look for him to help the team a lot this year. So what do you think of your son? And your son's a baseball player too.
He is. They're in the quarterfinals playing Dutchtown this week, so he's plays third base and having a good season, and hopefully they can continue this thing through to get to Sulphur. But yeah, he's a good athlete. Gets it from his mama, and unfortunately, I miss a lot of things with my kids. So that's tough. But the one thing that's nice about football is I'm able to be at a lot of those games because I miss so much from the baseball side of it. But he's young. He loves to compete, and he's really enjoyed West Monroe and the coaches over there. Tremendous school, and it's been a good fit for him.
Coach, talk about the Sun Belt Conference. I mean, we all know about Louisiana. I mean, ULL in Lafayette, which has got a great program, and play them every year in baseball, football, and every sport. But the Sun Belt is very interesting. Appalachian State. You got Coastal Carolina's coming up now. You got all these different teams that you play that are in the conference that are very strong. But what's your thoughts on the conference right now overall?
I think it's an extremely difficult baseball league. It's very, very talented. It's in the Southeast, so that you're talking about a different type of caliber of athlete, and the weather's really good in all of our places that we're able to play at. But you're right there in the same states that the SEC's in all reality. I mean, when you're talking about going from North Carolina to Texas, and there's a lot of those same states. So we kind of cross each other a little bit and get a little bit of the Big 12 and the ACC that because of proximity, it's the RPI of the league year in and year out is very good. There's been up to 4 teams that have made a regional before. Not sure what we'll get this year, but year in and year out, it's one of the top 5 to 8 leagues in the country. It's extremely challenging, and there's a lot of historical programs. You got programs like Lafayette that have been to Omaha, and then of course Coastal Carolina coming in a couple of years ago. They won a national championship, so it shows you that we can win a national championship out of a mid-major conference, and extremely talented players and great coaches in the league as well.
Coach, is it very similar? Because to even educate me, I mean, I follow baseball, but I admit what I don't know. Like the Southland Conference, the winner of their tournament goes to they get in a regional. Is that kind of how it works for the Sun Belt? If you win your tournament among the conference?
Is just about every league. Whoever wins the conference tournament in every league gets an automatic bid. But historically, we've gotten 2 to 4 teams in. So there's been some at-large bids. This year, we've only got 1 or 2 programs that have a chance to get an at-large bid. We'll see how it all unfolds with the next 3 weeks going. But, like I said, typically we get 2 to 3 in, and it's just a wonderful league with some wonderful facilities and college institutions.
I want to mention this, and I know that y'all don't have a lot of scholarships. Y'all have to break these down sometimes in the halves, quarters, and even smaller than that with your total. Not many total scholarships for baseball. I just wish that y'all would get 5 full scholarships, 5 more at least. But, locally the schools like Neville, Ouachita Christian, West Monroe, Ruston High School, a lot of good local baseball teams, Sterlington, a lot of teams in the area that, that are very good producing talent. What would you like to say to parents and dads about your program and to stay local? And not that you can sign everybody, right? But I mean, some of the top guys that would it's come down to even Steven on teams to stay local there in Monroe and play for your program.
Yeah, I think, and I consider local like just the state of Louisiana, and that's what's hard is sometimes people in South Louisiana don't know much about the North Louisiana schools, just like some people up here don't know about the South Louisiana schools just because of proximity. But I think the Louisiana kid, there's extremely, the high school coaches in our state, I think are phenomenal. I think our coaches association that we have, the Louisiana Coaches Association, is amazing. And, I think ULM has a lot of things to offer kids. From the academic side of it, we are a great health science school, have pharmacy and nursing and physical therapy, and there's some really, really, good degree programs that we have here that, I think more and more people need to continue to keep learning about. And then again, goes back to the Sun Belt. I think we're, one of the top leagues in the country. And I think more and more people need to understand that there's quality baseball, and we're going to play the SEC schools and Big 12 schools that are in proximity to us that we can play, and we're going to play an extremely talented schedule. And then the likes of the Southland and the SWAC teams that we have. I mean, there's really, really good college baseball in our state.
Yeah, I noticed you have Southern and Grambling on the schedule, and also want to mention that obviously what's so much different, as you know this, is that, and I know it in recruiting, you have more baseball talent in junior colleges that are qualified kids than you have in football. You know, to tone the skills, more football to get the grades up more than to go qualified. And there's so many Louisiana players, you know, that go to Delgado, that go to, you know, LSU Eunice, and go to, you know, Bossier City Community College. So there's a lot of good talent to sign back from Louisiana and junior colleges. And Coach, I want to bring you back one more segment, and it's one I want you to think about when we come back. But talk about your playing days at Southern Miss. I want to ask you when we come back what you were known for as a catcher, man. Were you known for throwing people out? Were you known for the bat? What were you known for? And then who was the best Southern Miss teammate, talent-wise, that you played with at that time when you were a catcher at Southern Miss? We'll be back with more of Michael Federico, the head baseball coach at ULM of Monroe. We'll be right back. So, hey, guys, just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Harvey Autos. If you need a new or used car, there's 3 great dealerships right here worth checking out. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Low prices, honest people. Tell them Lee sent you. Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report. Our guest is the head baseball coach at ULM of Monroe, Michael Federico, the head baseball coach. Coach, take a memory lane question here about Southern Miss. You were a catcher at Southern Miss. You played, like you said, at Pope John Paul's in Slidell in high school. When you were at Southern Miss, what were you known for as a catcher?
I was just a hard-nosed kid. I was actually a walk-on that just had to earn everything that I got. Ended up, you know, getting a college scholarship my senior year, and very thankful for it. I wouldn't be where I'm at without my education experience at Southern Miss. But I was just a defensive-minded person. I couldn't hit, although I did. One of my hits was a home run, so I'm thankful that I at least hit a college home run. But I was more of a defensive replacement late, and I could really catch and throw and could block. And you know, most of my time playing was the starting catcher would get his last at bat in the 6th inning, and I would go in and catch the last 3 innings defensively, and I'd always seem to be on deck when the last out was made. So I didn't get a whole lot of at-bats under my belt, but I did play a lot defensively.
Coach, what is your thoughts on Dylan Cruz's future at LSU now that you've seen him, played against him as a coach with LSU? He's the real deal, huh, from Florida? He is. Got a chance to see him play actually against a couple of our Catholic High guys in a summer baseball game at Nicholls State. He was playing for the Orlando Scorpions, and ironically was able to talk to his dad, his dad actually comes and duck hunts up here in Monroe area. And so he kind of saw my logo on my shirt, and we talked a little bit. I was trying to get him to transfer, but don't know if that'll happen. But he's one of the young guys. You know, Anthony Rendon is probably the best freshman that I ever coached against. Okay, right.
Because he just could. He was so good defensively and everything. You know, Dylan only played him one time, but from the bat, the maturity, what his body looks like, how he can run, the power, just an extremely talented young man, and I think he's going to have a bright future ahead of him.
Coach, it just seems like there's always 3 or 4 guys in college baseball that have X-ray vision like Superman seeing the ball going 95. I mean,
yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. I think it's just the fact that he knows how to slow the game down. I think the good ones that you talk about, they never get sped up. You know, 95 doesn't look 95 to guys like that. When it looks 85, and they just have an understanding of how to slow the game down. I've been fortunate to coach a couple guys like that in my time, and it's just interesting to see them slow the game down and what they can do.
I watched him against Ole Miss hit a home run, and what blew my mind is it was a fastball low with movement, 93, and he went down and got it. I mean, it was just, you know, I mean, nobody does that. You know, it was low with movement, 93, and just killed it. I mean, just perfect swing, incredible. But Trout, there's not a lot of Michael Trouts, huh, Coach?
That's right. That's right. They don't just fall off the tree very often, and I think Dylan's going to have a chance to be a special player for a long time if he can continue to progress. I know he's got things he's probably got to work on, and he's got to have protection for him in that lineup, and right now he does.
Let's sell some tickets, and I don't know what it is. I know it's not full capacity yet. I guess it's not total full, but I know it's getting better. But tell everybody about your next game and promote how they can, get tickets and what time and what day. I want to help you out there for your next series, which is going to be tomorrow starting.
Absolutely. We've got our last weekend series at home before 2 weekends on the road. We play University of Texas Arlington in a 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Weather looks like it's going to be good Friday and Saturday. We'll see on Sunday. And our stadium is about almost 40 years old, and it's going to be the last weekend to play on the natural surface. We're going to be getting a new surface, so I'm excited about that. I think people need to know that from the recruiting side of it. We're going to get synthetic turf put in this summer, and so it's going to be, kind of bittersweet. I love playing on the grass, but at the same time, this is going to be something that's much needed in our program. And with the rain and some of the weather that we get in North Louisiana, it's definitely going to be an added attraction. And we're going to honor Lou Saint-Amant, who kind of built this stadium. He's going to be here on Sunday for the game, and really excited about just the future of what our program's, where it's going.
Coach, tell everybody the time of the first game so they'll know to come, the time of the first game on.
Sure. We play Friday at 6 p.m. and then Saturday at 2 p.m. and Sunday at 1.
Okay, yeah, go out and be a part of ULM baseball. Coach Michael Federico, the head baseball coach, doing a great job, and beat Alabama, Oklahoma State, UL, beat a lot of great programs, some others. You got TCU down the road, I see, Coach, which is going to be on ESPN. It looks like with your provider, whoever has the ESPN3. Be a 3-game series with TCU in Fort Worth, Arkansas State. I mean, just they don't get any easier, huh, Coach? I don't see any easy games on here.
No, sir. It's been a crazy year, and it doesn't get any easier for sure. UTA's winning our West Division, so we'll be challenged these next 3 weeks, and hopefully we can be playing our best baseball going into the conference tournament.
Coach, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the show because I want to tell you something when we end the show to help you out. But I appreciate everybody listening to the show today with our head baseball coach, Michael Federico, the head baseball coach of ULM of Monroe. Be sure to support them. Keep in touch with them locally in Monroe. If you're hearing the show in Shreveport or Bossier or all over South Louisiana, be sure to check them out. They've got a great program. He's done a great job. We will see everybody on Monday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.